What is up, guys? This is Andy with Comic Talk here with our next review. Say any questions that you might have, please let us know in the comment below, or please message us on our Twitter page. At our Twitter page is at comictalks.com, and please let us know what you think about our reviews, or if we have something that you want to review, let us know. Thanks. Like I said last time when I reviewed Blackest Night, that I'd do a review over a Batman story this time. This time I'm going to do a review over Batman, The Black Mirror by Scott Snyder. And the art is done by Jock and I think I'm pronouncing it right, Francesco Francavilla. And honestly, the art in this is one thing. If you're really big on art, I would pick this up because the art in this is just absolutely amazing. Like, this is when Jock was doing it. But it's a Scott Snyder kind of Batman horror story and a detective story at the same time. It's kind of like a bunch of short stories when he was doing detective. These Batman stories are about Dick Grayson during his run after Batman died, or when Batman had died, and then a little later on toward the end of the stories when Batman kind of just came back after the events of Batman and Batman Inc. and everything started to come about. The story is that there's a new villain that's kind of in town, the Dealer. The Dealer has kind of come around. There's been a murder. A little kid was swimming in the pool and was being bullied, so he took some supplements to kind of help him swim better. Come to find out, it's actually Killer Croc's like his venom that turns him into Killer Croc. After he did that, he ended up attacking the kid and ended up eating the other kid's arm off. It is then up to Dick Grayson to go ahead and try and find out why the kid had this and how the kid was able to get this with his connections. Honestly, the story is really good. Scott Snyder, for one, if you haven't read any of Scott Snyder's stuff, I think this might be his first run on Batman. I'm not 100% sure, but the voice he has for Dick Grayson is absolutely amazing. I feel like he has a great voice for Dick Grayson, and he kind of has the positivity that Dick Grayson is his own independent Batman. Again, like I said about the art, the first one I think is done by Jock. I'm pretty sure. But there's a part in the book, it's not really much of a spoiler, but when I saw this online, this is actually what got me to buy the book, because you get to see Dick Grayson actually right here in a full-page spread, waking up in a hospital bed. When he wakes up, he finds out that his legs are gone. What it actually is Dick Grayson was attacked and finally met up with the Dealer and found out what the Dealer does is he finds old items from superhero battles and supervillain battles and takes them and resells them to rich people that really want mementos. Like one of the items they have there is the crowbar that killed Jason Todd that the Joker used in Death in the Family. Sorry, and in Death in the Family, of course, we all know Jason Todd was beaten with a crowbar and blown up. Well, after that happened, the Dealer came up behind him, stole the crowbar, and is selling it for a very high price. And apparently he's been doing this for years and has multiple items like Scarecrow Toxin, and that's apparently where the kid got the venom. The kid had a butler. He's raised very similar to Bruce Wayne, where the butler kind of raised him up. The parents were gone. They weren't dead. The parents were just kind of gone doing their thing, and the kid was raised by the butler. The butler was kind of helping the kid out. He felt bad that the kid was getting bullied, so he picked some stuff up that he figured would help out and help the kid maybe get over his bullying problems. He gave him the venom, and that's what turned him into the kind of a mini Killer Croc. The other story we have is Ghost Stories, which is done by Francesco Francavilla, and that's the second story in this book, and it's kind of around James Gordon Jr. And the thing is you don't see it much, but it's actually a kind of a story through Jim Gordon's eyes, where he's having memories about his son. If you don't know, James Gordon Jr. kind of has a little off. Was born a sociopath, and he's had multiple times throughout his history where he's had problems where, like, he'll go to Halloween dressed up as the Joker when he was a little kid. He doesn't have emotions, he doesn't have feelings, he's a definition sociopath. And Jim Gordon has recently, James Gordon Jr. has come back, and he's decided that he's told his dad that I'm cured, that I'm ready to be a member of the family now. Of course, James Gordon, Commissioner Gordon decides to go talk to Barbara and ask her, since his brother it's her brother, so she talks to her trying to get a feel, kind of figure out what it is. She tells him that James is now on a medicine, and that the medicine is keeping his sociopathy pretty much suppressed, and that he's back to normal, and that he's just a normal person and actually cares and has feelings. He talks to Barbara, and Barbara pretty much tells him that I don't trust him. If you can find some proof that he's changed, then maybe we can see how this goes out and play it out. But I just don't trust him. I don't want him near me. He doesn't make me feel right, especially after the events in the cabin, which is kind of what this story's about. That a killer has recently come free from Gotham, and what he does, he steals kills people and takes the keys and sneaks in their homes and kill children. Gordon is kind of following this around and finds this guy. It is kind of iffy on what it is, but this guy, Gordon had locked this guy up, and when he comes back to try and get revenge on Gordon, he decides to go attack James Gordon Jr. When he attacks James Gordon Jr., just to look at him because of his sociopathy, this is years ago in a flashback, that when he goes to stare at James Gordon Jr., just his look at him scares the guy. And he decides to go and pretty much take his rage out on someone else. While they're at this cabin at this family getaway, Barbara Gordon's friend disappears, and for the first person she points out is James. James just has an odd sense of humor. He makes jokes about killing, he makes jokes about stuff that's just way above his age. He's only maybe 10 or 11 and makes jokes that someone his age really shouldn't be telling. I mean, there's just something off about him, and you just can't really if you read it, it's very off-putting, and it's a really good, if you're really big into kind of figuring out the human mind, and maybe kind of more of a Criminal Minds feel. That's actually kind of what it feels like. It's more like the show Criminal Minds. Anyways, by the end of the story, we find out that James Gordon catches this guy, because it's kind of running along where you find out more that Gordon's going through and chasing this guy, thinking that he thinks that James Jr. had actually killed Barbara's friend, and that's why Barbara don't trust him. So he kind of chases this guy along and chases him, and finds out that he actually went up there and pretty much, like I said earlier, he went up to go get revenge on Gordon for being arrested on an earlier bust. So when he goes to attack Gordon, James Gordon Jr., he goes to attack him and he scares him, like I said earlier, and he decides to go take it out on Barbara's friend, and just she just disappears. Nobody's know I heard from her. He doesn't say proof. He just shows that he has a key to the cabin, and the key to the cabin, the only person that had it was Barbara and her friend. So when he attacks her, he steals the key to the cabin, and it's kind of not really shown what or told what happens. You have to read to find out. It's really weird. And there's a story in here also. There's one of the stories in here where it's kind of Dick Grayson kind of dealing in the backstory with some of the events from the first one with a dealer. He's been injected with a very, very strong potent of something. I can't really say. It's kind of very spoilerish. But while he's doing this, he's kind of seeing things, and he's busting some people at the docks because he's not feeling so good. He's had Tim Drake as a Red Robin come and kind of help him out a little bit. He don't feel that he's right and kind of on his game, so he has Red Robin come to back him up and kind of make sure that he's okay. While he's in the water, while they're chasing some people down at the docks, he goes to try and follow some of them under the water. While they're under the water, he kind of starts singing Killer Whale and starts seeing voices and has voices about the deep, and it's weird because it has a very creepy feel that he's having and seeing all these things. I mean, there's a certain way about it. It gets at you, and I think that's what Scott Snyder was really good at. He can find the deepest and creepiest part of you and kind of reach it out and bring it out in the book and the series. And that's why I think it's if you pick someone who's kind of the opposite of Bruce Wayne, more Dick Grayson, who's more positive and everything he has is more of a positive outlook, and you kind of try to break that just with the way how dark Gotham is. It's really, really good. This is kind of a flowing plot through all three stories. By the end of the third story, we kind of have a weird criminal plot where James Gordon Jr. has he's kind of revealed that he's not taking the meds. He's revealed it to Barbara that he's not taking the meds, and Commissioner Gordon finds it out. So he lets the people know, and him and Barbara let Dick Grayson know that he's not taking the meds. And what he's decided to do is reverse the engineering for the meds and slip into Gotham's formula supply. So all the babies that's going to be born is going to be born as a sociopath, which is not, honestly, it's not really a really big plot, but in a mental, like a weird, in a very weird way to think about. If you It's just weird to think about when he's trying to pretty much make every single generation. So he's felt alone ever since he was a kid for being a sociopath. That he's felt alone. He's never felt at home. But he's decided that what if I just get rid of that altogether and make the next generation just like me? So he decides to pretty much re-engineer this formula that he has, put it into the formula supply for all the babies and all the milk. So everything they drink is going to pretty much be mixed with this potion, and it's going to make them pretty much exactly like him and make him into a killer. This ends up being into a confrontation between Barbara Gordon and James Jr. While this is going on and while they have this final confrontation, Commissioner Gordon decides to let Batman know that it's in the supply. We have to somehow get rid of it. We have to stop this from happening. Batman gets there in time and kind of stops it, and he stops it in a way, but it's kind of iffy, and that's another thing Scott Snyder has. He leaves the ending kind of ambiguous, which you kind of see in the Court of Owls. The ending of the Court/Night of Owls story, you kind of get that same ambiguous ending, where that's where kind of the mystery comes in. But it comes to a weird kind of revelation also that when he was a kid, Commissioner Gordon thought that maybe he could set his son straight and give him and let him spend a night in Arkham. The night that he actually spent next to in the cell was a Joker. So he actually became friends with the Joker and actually had a really close relationship with Joker, and that's kind of what evolved him into being the killer that he is, because he finally found a hero and someone he can relate to in Joker. So one of the things he said that he claims that, and this is what I do like about the story, it claims that James Gordon Jr. is actually the reason and the responsible for Barbara Gordon actually getting paralyzed in The Killing Joke. That while he was in there, he said he hated his sister because she always seemed so positive, so happy, and a great outlook on life, that maybe someone should slow her down and just take it away from her, that he was just jealous of Barbara. So he says this to the Joker and kind of has a relationship with him. So it's kind of revealed, and he tells to Barbara Gordon that he's kind of responsible for her getting paralyzed in the wheelchair. While doing this, she doesn't realize it because she's paralyzed, but he's stabbed her in the legs. She has, I've had that page I'd show you. It'd take a minute for me to find it. I think I could actually find it here because Francisco Francavilla does it. One of the issues that he has in here, if I can find it just real quick, is right here. Kind of done in a very Daredevil-esque style, where he's actually got the legs and stabbed him into her, and that she's having to fight for her life and try and run away from James Gordon Jr. and trying to figure out a way to kind of survive this, because honestly, she's been stabbed in the legs, she's hit him, and she's trying to crawl away and hide from him, using kind of some of her hiding skills that she learned from Batman as Batgirl. And she's trying to survive and kind of buy time while Dick's trying to get there and save her. Because he's kind of put two and two together that since he's done this, he's obviously going to go after Barbara just because they don't have that relationship. Dick Grayson has showed up, and this is where it's kind of, I like James Gordon because James Gordon Jr. because now he's kind of a villain for Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon, which kind of shows later. If you're reading New 52 Batgirl and kind of keeping up with that, you can see him return there, kind of more as a returning villain and kind of be a main antagonist for Barbara Gordon, kind of like how Joker is for Batman. And this is where it makes it really good because she's like a returning opposite of like the really dark side of Barbara Gordon and Batgirl. But in this story, he's kind of more like an opposite Dick Grayson, where Dick Grayson was positive because he had the memories of his parents to kind of know what he wanted to be, just like Bruce Wayne, where he kind of wanted to kind of go down that path to figure out, I really need to do this. This is what my parents expected of me. While James Gordon Jr., since his parents didn't really have that much, were kind of afraid of him and didn't really know what to do, they just kind of try to beat it out, kind of, in a way, beat the sociopath out of him. And that is what you see in this book, is kind of what made him kind of go nuts. and it's really nice to see that parallel between Dick Grayson and James Gordon, or James Gordon Jr., because Dick Grayson has a conversation with him when they finally meet up. That he's like, I always knew there was something off about you, that you just didn't seem right. And of course, it ends up to kind of a final confrontation between the two, which I won't give away. But of course, if you're reading Batgirl, you know he's not going to be killed. That Dick Grayson's not a killer. But the end of it, pretty much the way Dick describes it is that Gotham has kind of made this whole place like a black mirror to him, which is where the name comes in. And he talks about the stories that he's actually went through recently, and that Gotham has a way of kind of twisting things that he kind of, you see it a little bit in Nightwing also, where he kind of twists the things that he likes and just kind of makes him into this dark, evil version of what he thought was Gotham, and into a blacker, darker version of itself, which I think is a really great idea, because you always see Gotham as kind of more of like a city, and he does it in Court of Owls also, but Scott Snyder kind of creates and makes Gotham its own character, that Gotham is more of like a living being by itself. And I think that is an amazing thing to do. It's done a lot in Batman books, but the way Scott Snyder does it, kind of more of like Gotham is kind of it's a living being that gets darker and darker the more the people live in it. But if you have a chance, I would pick this up. It's not that much. I picked it up probably, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, and I picked it up for about $20. I picked it up in trade. I read it in issues from a friend of mine, and I read a little bit here and there in the issues, and I just got hooked. Just the artwork, I love unique artwork like that. It might throw you off just to have something that's real sketchy and not really defined, but this is just like, it's Jock. Jock does really great artwork. Francesco Francavilla does really great artwork too. I think he's done some for Daredevil, I don't know, but I know he's done continued works on Batman throughout the years. Again, I would really recommend picking this up. Next review I'm actually going to do over the Chris Yost's run on Red Robin. Or Chris Yost, I think he did most of it. I'm going to do the whole Red Robin run right before New 52, before it relaunched into Teen Titans. Again, I would really recommend picking up. It's Batman, the Black Mirror, which is, again, right around the time of Grant Morrison's run, and it is really good. If I got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments below. It's, like I said, it's been a while since I read this. I probably should have reread it before. Again, like I said, it's been a while since I've read it. I think I got kind of the gist. Like I said, if I got anything wrong, let me know in the comments below. If you got anything you want me or Zach to review, please, again, let us know in the comments below, or let us know on Twitter. We're glad to hear your comments. We're glad to have a conversation with you. We'd love to let you know and talk about comics, let you know about kind of whatever you want. I mean, we talk about what you want to talk about. But thanks for the review. Thanks for watching the review, guys. If you have anything else, like I said, you want us to review or talk about, like a couple months, of course, Flash and Arrow's coming out, and me and Zach are probably going to start doing discussions on Flash and Arrow. Please look forward to watching our the Arrow discussions and Flash discussions, because he's a really big Flash fan, and I've read some Green Arrow. I'm not big into Green Arrow, but I'd love to start reading more. I've read Longbow Hunters, Quiver, some New 52 stuff. I've read some of Grell's run, and I've read Grell's run, Smith's run, some of I forgot his name. It won't come to me for a while. But I've read a little bit of Green Arrow here and there. But he's a character I do like, but I want to get to know more. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but please, if you want to look forward, we're doing our Flash and Arrow discussions, and maybe talking about maybe the comparison of the two shows. Maybe about the tones, how different they are and everything. But we'll talk about that in the discussions. Again, please let us know in the comments below. Thanks, guys.